The temple stood silent, cloaked in a haze of incense as the last flickers of candlelight were swallowed by the encroaching darkness. Siddhartha, his robes a muted saffron, gazed upon the lifeless form before him. It was a body that once radiated vitality, now reduced to a symbol of ultimate loss. His closest friend and confidant, Ananda, knelt beside him, face-stricken with disbelief. "Why?" Ananda's voice cracked, a fragile echo in the stillness. Siddhartha's heart raced, a tempest of regret and despair crashing against the walls of his composure. His teachings on suffering, attachment, and the path to enlightenment loomed over him like a specter. He had spoken of impermanence, of the inevitability of loss. Yet, in this moment, the weight of those words pinned him down. "Was there nothing I could do?" Ananda whispered, tears streaming down his dust-streaked cheeks. The air stirred, heavy with the fragrance of loss. Outside the temple, the murmurs of the crowd began to swell. Siddhartha sensed the chaos brewing. The townspeople, once eager to hear his words, now buzzed with confusion and fear. They had placed their hopes in him, the man they believed could untangle the web of existence. But now, as death's shadow loomed larger, whispers of doubt crept in. "Is he really the one?" a voice called from the back of the gathering. "How can he lead us if he cannot save his own friend?" Siddhartha felt the weight of their gazes pressing down on him, their expectations morphing into accusations. The pressure mounted like a storm brewing on the horizon, each drop of uncertainty striking harder than the last. Ananda struggled, barely holding on to his faith, while Siddhartha wrestled with his own, the feverish fear that he might be leading them into a darkness deeper than any they had faced. It wasn't always like this. Just months earlier, standing in the lush green of the forest, Siddhartha had faced a pivotal crossroads. Surrounded by his followers, the air crackled with anticipation and anxiety. They had gathered, hungry for truth, for guidance, but also for answers to the nagging questions that gnawed at their souls. "Shall we confront the king?" Ananda proposed, his brow furrowed. "The world is suffering, Siddhartha. Surely he must be made to understand." The decision loomed. Siddhartha could feel the currents of fate swirling around him, each choice a potential fork in the river of time. To confront the king could mean backlash, punishment, even death. But to remain silent was to continue the cycle of suffering. "I will not confront the king," Siddhartha finally declared, his voice steady but laden with the weight of responsibility. "We must seek the truth within, not through conflict." That simple choice, made in a moment of conviction, set everything in motion, a choice that would awaken hope in some and sow seeds of doubt in others. As Siddhartha's teaching spread, so too did his notoriety. His followers multiplied, drawn not just by his insights, but by the promise of liberation from suffering. Yet, the more he spoke of detachment, the more the world outside his teachings seemed to push back. The king's guards, once nonchalant, now loomed like shadows, watching, waiting. Siddhartha believed that enlightenment could be shared, passed from teacher to student like a flame igniting dry kindling. He envisioned a community united in the quest for truth, where each person carried the light forward. But there was an illusion in his strategy. He underestimated the depth of fear and resistance that clung to those in power. The belief that knowledge could outweigh authority began to crumble under the pressure of reality. The king's anger simmered, stirred by the discontent among his subjects. That Siddhartha's words had coaxed to the surface. The night was thick with tension, Siddhartha could feel it in his bones. He had called for a gathering, a chance to unite his followers against the ripple of dissent threatening to tear them apart. As the townspeople filled the temple, their faces illuminated by flickering flames, he stood at the forefront, heart pounding like a war drum. "Listen," he implored, his voice rising above the murmur. "What we seek is not found in the shadows of kings or the wealth of this world. It lives within each of us, waiting to be awakened." But as he spoke, a figure emerged from the back, a messenger, pale and breathless, bearing news of an impending arrest. The king, furious and threatened, had ordered his capture. Gasps swept through the crowd, faces shifting from hope to fear. Ananda gripped Siddhartha's arm, the pressure palpable. "We must flee. Now." Siddhartha's mind raced, the moment stretched thin. He could feel the weight of lives, of hopes, crushed beneath the rolling tide of anger. His instinct screamed to run, to protect his followers, but the ancient wisdom he had sought to impart clawed at him. He shook his head. "We cannot flee from this truth, Ananda. We must stand and face it." As the guards stormed in, torches blazing, Siddhartha stood resolute, a solitary figure against the tide. Ananda pulled at him, desperation lining his voice. Please. They'll kill you. But Siddhartha could see the fear in the eyes of his followers, fear of losing their beacon, their guide. In that moment, he felt the weight of his own teachings bearing down, the realization that he had not just spoken of suffering, but had become a living embodiment of it. In the chaos, betrayal struck like a dagger. One of his own, a man who had shared in the teachings, now turned on him, urging the guards on with false accusations. He leads us astray, the man screamed. He speaks of detachment while seeking to tear us from the arms of our king. The shouts rang in Siddhartha's ears, a cacophony of confusion and anguish. Ananda's face twisted in disbelief as Siddhartha stood, paralyzed by the betrayal of someone he had trusted. The crowd surged, a wave of panic spilling into the streets. And in that instant, something irreparable fractured within Siddhartha. The echoes of the night's chaos faded into the quiet of the temple, where Siddhartha sat, alone. Ananda had fled, the crowd scattered, the message he had fought to spread now lost in whispers of fear. What did it mean to wield such power of thought? Siddhartha had once believed that knowledge could elevate humanity, a bridge over the chasms of suffering. But reality had thrust a painful truth upon him: enlightenment could not be given, it had to be earned through fire and struggle. In the silence of that temple, Siddhartha confronted his own fragility, the human flaws that intertwined with his ideals. There was no easy path, no guaranteed outcome. The duality of ambition and vulnerability danced before him, an eternal struggle. And so, as the dawn broke over the horizon, casting a pale light over the remnants of the night, Siddhartha rose. This was not the end, but a beginning, a canvas upon which he would paint the lessons learned, the scars earned through choices made under pressure. In that moment of profound loss, the man who would become the Buddha stepped forward into the light, prepared to embrace the very suffering he had once sought to escape, a new understanding of his place in the intricate mosaic of life, where each human experience formed a thread in the grand tapestry of existence. As he walked out into the world, the sunlight warmed his face, illuminating the path ahead. The journey toward enlightenment was not a solitary quest, but a shared human experience, fraught with pain, loss, and ultimately, profound awakening.